got a chance to see Joker Folie à Deux, or however you say it, Joker 2. Let's talk about it right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone! Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I am your host, Frank Zanca. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And yeah, talking about comics, I just got my test copy in for Lords of LA, my vampire mob set in 1950s Hollywood, where we have plenty of blood, sex, and violence. And we have Were-Panther and all this other stuff. It's good stuff, and a lot of the stuff that happens in 1950s Hollywood. So we have Marilyn Monroe and everything else in there. So we have issue 1 and issue 2. So if you'd like a copy, I do sign them as well. Let me know if you want a copy before I go into my full print run. You can just make a comment or DM me or something to that effect. Plus, just in time for Halloween, Mark Spears and I have teamed up to do Mythlord's Classic Monsters. It's a card game for 1 to actually 5 people. We are now live on Kickstarter as of a couple of days ago. We're about, 30% funded already. So yeah, and I just hired a couple more people to do some pushes for us. So yeah, we should be, within the next week or so, we should be moving kind of steadily. But anyway, check it out. The description below has the link to Kickstarter. And plus, it also comes with STLs for figures. So we have Frankenstein and Dracula and a few more as well that come for free. So definitely check out the link below. Again, it's just in time for Halloween. All right, so let's jump into Joker 2. Because I'm not going to say the Folie à Deux continuously. I'll just say Joker 2. But what that means, in case you didn't look it up, is Madness for Two. That's what it translates from. I would assume it's French. Why don't they just call it Madness for Two? Why did it have to be French? I have no idea. Todd Phillips, who obviously is, very big in the film industry. He did like all the Hangover movies, and he also produced A Star Is Born, which of course is how he has the relationship with Lady Gaga, and then put her into this. That's how that happened. But yeah, he is a very big filmmaker, producer, director, etc. So he didn't want to make this sequel, and Warner Brothers kind of talked him into it. I can tell. So he teamed up with the writer from The Mod Squad and The Fighter to make this film. I really don't know what he was going for here, but I heard he made $20 million, and Joaquin Phoenix made $20 million, and then Lady Gaga made an additional $10 million. So that's $50 million. I think the first film was like $30 million, where this one was $200 million. So yes, the first film made $1 billion. Did they assume that they were going to make exactly the same amount of money over again? They were going to break $1 billion again after everything with COVID and people weren't going back to the theaters? That's silly. So a $200 million movie has to make $600 million? 550 something. They got to break $500 million. I guess they're assuming that they're going to make half as much. I don't know, but not with the score on this. The score on Rotten Tomatoes, I just looked it up, was 36%, and that's without the audience score in there yet. That is just the people that are reviewing it, like the high score reviewers, and the reviewers are hating it. Now, as a comic book fan, this is not the Joker, as far as I'm concerned. And the first one, I didn't even go see the first one in the theater because the Joker can't exist without Batman. Batman made the Joker in essence, and the Joker is attached to Batman pretty much at the hip. Where if you read any kind of Batman/Joker story, he he doesn't care if he has an audience. He needs an audience of one, which is Batman. He feels like he and Batman are the polar opposites, the two sides of the same coin. That is the only audience member he needs. So as long as he's pressing Batman's buttons continuously, that's his whole life. Without Batman, there is no Joker. It just doesn't exist. And I understand that we're going off and doing like an Elseworld where Batman doesn't exist yet or ever, and it's just a story about the Joker. Well, then you should have just called it something else. It doesn't have to be the Joker. If you're going to go that far off script, where you're going that far off of the source material, it's not really the Joker anymore. And I understand, too, you're going to say, well, look what the Penguin's doing. The Penguin isn't, sticking to script. Well, we don't know yet. We don't know what Penguin's doing yet. He has the limp. He has the nose. For all we know, he's going to have the umbrella soon. Who knows? So the Joker takes place in, I would assume, at the 50s in New York. When did Gotham appear in New York? I have no idea. But they actually say the state of New York. I have no clue, man. That's news to me. But this story, I'm not really going to do any spoilers here, but I am going to give you the basics of what the film is about. And it's about nothing. It goes nowhere. The only time this movie works is when Harley and Joker are together and feeding off one another. That is the only time this movie works. Otherwise, it's just wheels spinning in the mud. It's just kicking stuff up. That's all it is. It goes nowhere. It basically continues where the last movie... like I said, I didn't see the last movie at the theater. I ended up seeing it, I think, in the plane or whatever else. And I didn't like it. I know everybody loved it. I didn't like it because it wasn't Joker. They just could have They could have created a whole other name for that thing, and you wouldn't have known the difference. You wouldn't have said, "Oh, that's the Joker." No, it's a guy with a clown mask. It's Pennywise, for all we care. So it continues off with a cartoon in the beginning, showing the two versions of himself melding as he's, getting beat up by the cops or whatever. But he gets arrested. And he ends up being in Arkham Asylum, which looks like it doesn't have any gothic tone to it or anything else. It looks like a generic hospital. That's what it looks like, with barbed wire fence around it, where it's really just a prison. We just see the day in the life of a prisoner. That's really all it is. He doesn't even, have the personality of the Joker for probably the first half of the film. And that's one of the problems here too, is that the movie is way too long. For it going absolutely nowhere, it's way too long. It gets repetitive because all it is him in the asylum/prison, him having problems with the guards, and then him having a relationship with Lee. I'm just going to say Harley Quinn, but it's Lee Quinzel in here. And then having his trial with Catherine Keener as his lawyer against Harvey Dent. Okay? And I really thought they'd introduce Two-Face here, but they don't even do that. The origin story for Harley in this is okay. It's better than the one that we saw in the Suicide Squad, at least, where she is a fangirl, and she's not really a practicing psychologist, but she has a psychology degree. We hear that. But at least it's a closer one. The one in the cartoon, if they don't retcon it, is the best one yet. The one created by Paul Dini is the best one yet. Still, I should say. They shouldn't change it. Having her being his psychologist in Arkham Asylum and having her be altered by him is still the absolute best origin story. Why mess with something that works? And I think they touched on that in Suicide Squad a little bit, but eventually she ended up in the drink with him. But or he pushes her in there to make her like him. I think that's what it was. She doesn't really act like Harley at all. She doesn't really go crazy at all. And he kind of stays on this line. And I shouldn't say all, but 90% of the musical numbers all take place in his head or her head or whoever's head. So we're constantly diving into somebody's head and then diving back out. And we're in the prison, and then we dive back in, we dive back out, and then we're in the trial, and then we dive back in, we dive back out, and then we're in the prison. Literally, it goes nowhere. He's in the prison in the beginning, he's in the prison at the end. Nothing changes. Nothing changes at all from the beginning of the movie to the end. Nothing. Well, there is a spoiler. Again, that's spoilers. I'm not going into that. I'm just talking about where the camera starts and where the camera ends. Okay? So it's literally you're sitting there wasting your time. It's literally wasting your time. Because then the whole ending even destroys the rest of the movie that you watched for 2 hours and change. The whole ending, the last 20 minutes, destroys the hour and a half to hour and 45 minutes you just sat through. So as this is going on inside the courtroom, you're just like, what is going on, man? You're screwing everything up that just took place. It's awful. It's awful. I have no idea what Todd Phillips was going for here, but if an analogy of a pitcher in a baseball game, I mean, he didn't not even over the plate, man. He threw this thing into the bleachers. I don't know what he was trying to do. If you said to me, what's the point of the new Joker movie? That's all I could do is this. I have no idea. The guy made $20 million? I mean, the point of the film is that the people made money? I don't know. With the reviews that are coming out, I think this was a very bad move for Warner Brothers to push him into something that he didn't want to do. Because this almost seemed like, oh, you want me to make a film? Okay, Warner Brothers, there you go. Give me my $20 million. This is what I got for you. That's what it felt like. It felt like my heart's not in this. I'm just throwing shit against the wall, and that's it. I'll come in under budget or whatever, or on budget, and that's it. I'm not going to go over because it takes place literally in like 3 locations, and that's it. I don't know. I don't know why. I am desperately looking, for not even a tenth of the amount of money he got to spend. Probably a 1% of the money that he got to spend. Here somebody just throws it away. Just threw it away. I mean, he's going to have a failure under his belt. I don't know how I think people will go the first weekend, and then after that, it's going to die a really, really quick death. And I don't think it'll go anywhere near the $500 million it needs to make. And there are other actors I recognize in there as well. Bill Stretchovich, I can't know how to say his name. During COVID, when there was nothing being filmed, you weren't allowed to film, I was driving for Uber, like Uber Eats, and I delivered a pizza to his house. Because in LA, there's a lot of different not little, but there are hidden, I think that's the better way to say it, hidden, very expensive homes, neighborhoods, that you wouldn't even know they're in there unless you took the right turn back into the little back areas. And Zazie Beetz, who played Domino in Deadpool 2, she has a very, very small role. And so does he. He plays the judge. But yeah, she's in one scene and that's it. But yeah, I mean, the majority of the film is the two of them. and the guards, I think, and Maria and Catherine Keener comes in and out, and that's it. And then the other inmates that basically are extras. So anyway, that's it for me. Let me know if you went to see it, if you liked it. I haven't. There's only been one person, I think that's Alan Ng, that actually liked the film. Every other review that I've watched, and I didn't hate it. I didn't hate the film. I thought that the last, third was god-awful because it destroyed the other face of the film. It's just boring because it doesn't go anywhere. But I nodded off a couple of times. But the stuff that worked, like their relationship, I was in it for that. But then he destroyed it, so it was just like, I'll never see this movie again, that's for sure. So if I'm going to rate it, I'm going to probably rate it a 4 out of 10. I thought the acting was good. Cinematography is good. The way they used spotlights was, I thought, really, spotlights and silhouettes, I thought they were all really good. All right. Again, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really greatly appreciate it. Remember to give me that like, give me that thumbs up if you can. Anything helps with the algorithm. And then if you have any comments in the thing, feel free to leave them. And if you can subscribe, please do. It's free. Ring that bell, ding, ding. And remember, in the description below, we'll have the link for Kickstarter for Mythlords Classic Monster Card Game. Perfect for Halloween. If you want to give any gifts. And it's upside down. But yeah, you play as your favorite classic monster. Whether it's Dracula, Frankenstein, Creature from the Deep, and the Wolfman. And you create your monster army with the Bride, the Mummy, Creature, was that the Headless Horseman, I think that one is, Mr. Hyde, they're all in there. And then you're fighting over locations like the Mummy's Tomb and the Ghost Ship. There's also a Dark Oz expansion if you're a fan of Wizard of Oz. In fact, here's the witch. Nice, nice, nice. Anyway, that's it for me. And check out some other videos. Thank you for watching all the way to the end, and I'll see you on the next episode. All right, bye-bye.